Hey YouTube, Ebsy here. I had some footage taken from some races I did recently. I really enjoyed them and thought I'd share it with everyone. So I just wanted to run you through really what was going on in the race, how I got on. So yeah, we were underway. We were in a Mclaren 12C GT3. It's a car I'm quite used to. I've raced it quite a lot, and we're here at Spa. We're going up the hill. We're just kind of starting to stick with the pack, trying to keep with it. And this is a solo race. This is not online. We're running the AI difficulty at around 80, I believe, 75, 80, which keeps the difficulty up. It keeps the racing somewhat of a challenge. I feel if you have it any lower than that, it tends to get a little bit easy. Yeah, this was also the first time that I'd really raced without the racing line. I'm a gamer that used to really heavily rely on that, and I wanted to try and get away from that. I wanted to learn the braking zones, learn the turn-in points. I know the racing line of most tracks, but just kind of stringing it all together and keeping it tight was quite interesting to me. It was a definite learning curve first few races. This is a few races into that learning curve now, so I'm starting to get it. I'm still running a little bit wide there, missing some apexes. But we're certainly getting it. It is very dependent on the car that you're in, I've found. Sometimes the car you're in makes things a lot easier. This is an easier car, I admit. It's not one that's quite tail happy or doesn't like turning in or is a bit understeery. It's quite neutral. You can get it to do any of those. You can get it to understeer, you can get it to oversteer, but it likes to be kind of driven quite hard, and it tends to reward you with being quite balanced, which is nice. So here we go, we're coming around the end of lap 1 onto some of the back straights at Spa, following this Aston here. Now this corner here, I do struggle with this corner a little bit sometimes. I tend to run a little bit wide and go quite slowly through it. I think I need to take a wider entry. Thankfully managed to get him under braking, which was cool, so that was good. And around the final turn. Final turn's a bit tricky on this one. The braking zone on it can be quite difficult to judge. Again, dependent on car. I think I've got the braking pretty much down on this car as to where to brake. Sometimes I brake a little bit too early, but it's better than overshooting massively. So we've got a good drive on that guy coming out of the hairpin, which was cool. And now we're chasing P1. We're chasing him down the hill. So yeah, we'll hopefully grab that. This is a faster route through the hill. Ran a little bit wide on the exit. Got a little bit out of place. So we skip forward to lap 2. We're still chasing the AMG Mercedes. Trying to take the inside line here and get totally wiped out. I admit that was probably my fault. I was trying to go on the inside, and the AI is not brilliant with leaving room. They're not great at understanding where you are. That being said, the same with online really. What you lose in the kind of racing line in solo play, you lose online when you're getting shunted up the arse. So it's it is what it is really, and I prefer the racing solo for like proper racing, because the cars tend to try and stick to a constant speed. You get people doing constant fast laps, whereas online tends to be a mixed bag. You tend to get people that do one hot lap and then can't string another lap together for 5 or 6. So I like this. This is more realistic, and especially I'm using a wheel as well, so that changes things. Got a little bit bashy there going into one of the back corners there. Going into the last few corners here. Anyway, I mentioned I'm using a wheel. I'm using the Logitech G29. Bought it a little while ago. Starting to get used to it. It's taken a little bit of switching things around on it. The dead zone is quite large. I don't know whether I can change that more than I already have. I'm hoping I can, because the mid dead zone is quite big. Especially when you're on a straight, it tends to pull left and right. So it's a little bit frustrating that, but I'm getting there. It's all about the settings, so it just needs tweaking. So we skip forward to lap 4 here. I'm still chasing down P1, so we're back to where we were. we're still pushing pretty hard to get past him. We've got quite a good run there, but unfortunately we're on the outside and we get shunted off into the barriers. The AI attempting to stick to the perfect racing line there, not taking into account other players, which is great. So there we go. So this is the corner I went off last time. We get through that one, which is good. Still chasing him down though. Still getting him here. We're catching up with him pretty well. He tends to be a little bit slower and he's braking quite cautiously. But I did give him a little tap there, I admit, but he didn't lose too much. I think he deserved that as an AI player. He doesn't really care too much. So we're coming round, looking like I'm going to get him under braking. He sees me there and he tries to dive out of the way. I believe he went off into the sand. It's looking like he did. He's quite a way back, so I believe he went off into the sand. Unfortunately, you know, that's the trouble with the AI. They do tend to try and jump out of the way. So we're on to lap 5 and coming around the chicane, keeping it tidy, nicely round, running a little bit wide just over the curbs, but keeping it together. And then we're going to come around to the last corner. And that was the win. That was the win. It was a nice race, that. It was good. Unfortunately, the AI had to take me out a couple of times, which is a bit frustrating. It didn't need to go like that. I think the AI could be more intelligent in this game, especially with proximity. They're not great with proximity. So we're going to move on to the Hockenheim ring. Another circuit that I quite enjoy. They're both the GP circuits, so they are the longer of the circuits and the ones that we, as racers and as Formula One enthusiasts that some of us are, we tend to know the circuits better than the small kind of short circuits. Now we're going to come away pretty much at the back on this one, 25th of 30 currently, and we're making our way down to the first of the hairpins. And it's not a full hairpin this, but it's pretty close. It gets pretty busy at that one, but we managed to get out unscathed. Maybe a light bit of contact, but we're getting through. Get pushed onto the grass there a little bit, just to get around that guy, but it's fine. Sometimes you have to take the grass. Still a quicker option. I had a better drive off the corner. So coming round, there's going to be a lot of cars moving around at this point. Coming down, we get good braking. Do give that Mercedes just a little touch. He was very out of place there, and we get taken on the inside by 2 other Mercedes. So I think the Germans got their own back there, but we're certainly still pushing. Just come around the corner there, get a little bit uneasy there, but we're still in. So we get good apex there, and we get quite good drive out. We're still pushing pretty hard on these guys. Go push it right out to the outside. You'll see that guy. The AI jumps out the way when they see you're there. If they notice that you're there, they do tend to dart a little bit, which is quite frustrating. Tried to take the inside line on that guy, and he decided to turn in on me. That's the AI. But good racing all in all. Like, I'm quite enjoying this race. It's quite nice. It's a challenge still. You're not cutting your way through the pack instantly. You're still pushing pretty hard. It's nice. It's a good balance between impossible to win and they're still giving you a nice challenge, which is good. So we're moving on up now. I really don't like that. The first corner on Hockenheim ring I struggle with. You either go too slow into it and you don't need to go near the curbs, or you go ever so slightly too fast and it launches you over the other side of the curbs and you kind of get a bit beached, which is very frustrating. It's quite difficult to get that one correct, especially when you've got a car on the outside. So we're now pushing up behind this Aston. Going to take him, got quite a good slipstream off him then. Coming down to the hairpin again. So, under braking, I think I'm going to catch these guys pretty well. There was a lot of movement there. That guy in the Porsche was moving around a lot. Under braking, kind of darting left and right, which slowed him down quite a lot. So we're moving around here and we're going to, I think, catch them under braking again. They're not particularly hot on the brakes, which is quite good. It's good for me because I can outbrake them pretty easily. Makes for some good overtakes as well, flying into the corners when they're not expecting it, but you do have to watch out for them turning in. That's the only thing. That was the one thing that, whoops, gave that Porsche a little shunt there, sent him off. That was my fault. If I was online, I'd probably give the place back there. As long as I didn't lose too many other places, that was completely my fault. He braked, I shunted him. That was the way it was. The only thing that frustrates me a little bit with Project Cars is it's very difficult to understand where other cars are. There was no warning markers left and right or behind. Especially when you get alongside someone, it's very difficult to know whether they're actually still alongside you or whether they're behind. It's quite hard, and sometimes even the rear view doesn't show you. It makes it very difficult. There's quite a big blind spot, as they would teach you when learning to drive. You have to be quite aware of that. Took way too much curb then and got launched up into the air. The Aston's all over me coming out of the corner. I leave him a little bit of room just coming out, but still managed to take him. And then we're coming down P4 right now on the third lap, so we're doing pretty well. We've made our way through 20 cars. 20 cars so far, so let's see if we can stick it to these guys. See if we can catch them. I think we're doing pretty well. I'd like to play this online a little bit more. I'd like to get a group going. I'd love to get a group of racers together. I know I've done a few races with a guy called Sharky on PSN. He found me on Twitter, wanted to do a couple of races together. It was cool. We've done a few really great sessions actually, a couple of weekend sessions. We've got some other followers involved as well. We've had 2 or 3 others involved. It's been really good. We've done some good online racing, good close racing as well, which is quite nice. It's not, you know, all of one person out the front. And we do tend to do a mix of cars as well. So at the weekend we were in old Lotus F1 car. We did a Renault Cup. Yeah, just a right mix, which is nice because it plays into everyone's kind of strengths there. You don't just stick to GT3 and the guy that's raced 1,000 laps on GT3 would absolutely dominate. It's not like that. It's quite nice. And you get, you know, the standard online antics of people ramming and parking themselves on the start-finish line, but it's good. Makes for some good racing, some great content for the channel as well. So we're now chasing down P1. We're back to kind of a nice position to be in. This guy's still pretty quick out the corners. He's not giving a lot back. It's taken me this long to catch him, so he's racing pretty hard. I do tend to find that the AI, the further up the front you get, even though the pack stays pretty well together on like a 5-lap race, up the front, once you start getting up there, I believe that the difficulty raises in order to keep you behind, to try and make it a little bit harder for you. So yeah, we take first, and then on to the 5th lap, coming around the last few corners, and that's going to be the race for me. That's pretty good. We're 5.5 seconds, looks like 5.5 seconds up on the guy behind. So that was a nice race. It was a nice clean race.